I'm far less interested these days in being widely known than I am in serving my crowd. Usually when you come to an intensive, especially a one day, you're coming after one thing. You're coming to hope get one problem solved or one thing jostled or one insight. So if you can summarize your what's next into one sentence, or if you can't do that, what is the problem that needs to be solved in order for you to be able to move towards what's next? I participate in the group just like another member. And so the thing that I put on there was clarity in next opportunities, which was really my way of saying, I'm looking for the next opportunities to bring to this community and to bring to this group. I think I mentioned that, do I have problems because I'm worried, or am I worried because I have problems? And I at least like that thought. I don't know if it's true, it doesn't matter. So what was next for me was just being excited and kind of the unfolding of everything. And what I've started to realize for myself is that the more excited, the happier, and the more fun I am, the more opportunities and the faster things grow, not the other way around. And I'm curious if what you experience as valuable is the things that I really enjoy, or if they're the things that I think everyone finds valuable that I'm just beating my head against the wall.
I like what you did with 1%, where you have 1 month focused on one topic, and you go deep into that specific topic. I think that's really good. It's like right now it's real estate. So it's something that's very valuable to everybody. As opposed to just glossing over it, you have multiple weeks of different people, different perspectives. You can really get a good understanding of why it's important, why I should know this, what I need to know.
And how do you consume it?
Mostly through podcasts.
Through the podcast?
Right now, yeah.
I'll piggyback on that and say that I like your interviews, because I like your solo stuff too, but the interviews, just different perspectives, and you have the ability to really bring out a lot out of people that they didn't even know they could teach to other people. And just that actually, it motivated me to start interviewing people for our show. So now I interview dry experts all across the nation. And what that's done is open up relationships with them to become wholesale accounts for us and open up bigger opportunities for us.
The problem is, I think we could be a little bit of a bad audience for you because we know you so well. So I will skip over your monologues and only go to your interviews.
I actually read everything you print because it helps with my copyright.
Yeah, I actually love your emails. I'm all over those. But when we talk about from the standpoint of podcasting stuff, I just want the interviews. But be careful. I would pay attention to who's consuming more of your stuff, not some of your inner tribe people, unless enough of them could warrant a good enough opinion about that, meaning that would move the needle.
I would be surprised if the answers are different.
Okay.
I'm open to that, but also I'm far less interested these days in being widely known than I am in serving my crowd. Let me ask you all. We've talked only about content in the sense. What about these events, our large events, our products? What is actually most valuable to you?
For me, it's been this. Individually, just in this, this has been huge for me. But
I think part of it is like the intentionality, and the space that's created here is like the intentionality of going through and doing these things that you wouldn't necessarily do on your own. And there's just something with the group aspect of having that camaraderie that's created, the push, the drive, the normalcy that's created by being around other powerful entrepreneurs.
I once heard one of our members say that after being in our community for a couple of years, they went from running a $1 million business to a $20 million a year business. And I asked him why that was, and he said, well, this was the first group where I ever walked in and that wasn't a big deal. And as a result, he didn't have this heaviness over numbers anymore. He was around somebody who was making $20 million and somebody who was making $1 million a year, and it really didn't have that much of a difference. But for him, it gave him permission to step into a higher playing field. And he did, and it wasn't because of some strategy or system he learned, it just became normal to him. So would it be fair to say that all of you discovered and continue to follow what we do at Capitalism because you related to the journey, and you are here and you come to our big events because you are jiving with other people who are in the same place of that journey. Is that fair to say?
I think it's the community that keeps people.
Okay.
Like I told you last time, the 1% is probably one of the best Facebook groups I've ever seen on Facebook, just because it promotes a give mentality, which you guys created, and people aren't there to take, and you see that all the time in almost every other group that's entrepreneurial. And then I'm a perfect testimonial to, I left the Backroom for a year, and now I'm back. The reason I'm back is because of that community.
And what's interesting is, by like far and away, the thing that everyone at this level desires is clarity and connection. Am I on the right path? Am I doing the right things? And are there other people who are with me along the journey? And when you get to a certain point, it's no longer about the next system or the next even goal to set. It's really just clarifying the path more and more and more, and getting better and better people around you to keep that momentum going.
You're really good at contacting and networking with others and getting in front of other people that other people can't or haven't made the effort to. And then distilling their wisdom to your audience.
Can I repackage that? Because I agree with that, except for I think actually it's a level above that. I think you actually have a message rolling around in your head that you want to get out. And when you interview somebody and it's not packaged correctly, you'll repackage it back out. You're actually really good at that. You already decided you want to let somebody hear something. That's why you do monologues, because you have a general message you want to get out. And when you interview somebody, I'll watch you redo the question, and if the question doesn't answer what you want, you'll take it and read it back as if the way you needed somebody to hear it. So I don't even know if it's, so I don't disagree with what he said. I'm just saying you actually feel strongly that people need to hear a certain theme to a message. And I feel like whatever category you want to do that in, whether it's large group, event, small mastermind, none of that changes. You have a certain category, and when you don't hear it, you'll even do it here, you'll shut down. You're like, okay, let's move on. Like you're not hearing the message you want to hear because it's not coming out the way you wanted to hear. So I think you should pay attention to that more. That's actually the thing you like about is when the message is working, you'll give it more energy. When it's not, you're going to shut it down.
Yep, that's right.
And you're going to redo the message.
Yep.
And I agree with 100% with what Vinny's saying. That's how you interview. Like you pull out your core values. It's what Tim Ferriss does, right? He's all about optimization and all this stuff. When he interviews, he's going to pull for those and sort and steer the conversation to that. Mike Diller does the same thing on his podcast. He does a really good job of like understanding how that person runs their business, because that's what he's interested in. You're the same way. And if you go back to our first conversation with Ajit, it was about the values, and that's what you're usually sorting for, is those values. Own, create, serve, or some version of that.
And I think like, so when, and I've told you this before, like I met you for the first time at Freedom Fastlane Live, your first one. But prior to that, I joined ASM for radio, I think. And then and I was in Toronto at the time. And there were meetups for Amazing Sewing Machine in Toronto. And almost universally, the people who were taking action were people who were members of the tribe. And I think tying it back to kind of the knowledge and content, it's that simplification. You deliver the wisdom or the knowledge that drives people to action. And I think that's why people come to you.
My superpower was in my ability to make things simple that allowed other people to move forward. And that's easy for me. And oftentimes the things that are our greatest gift to those around us are really easy, and we tend to overlook them. And so it was really good to hear the group give me that piece of feedback.
Is that what you want to be doing?
What's that?
Do you want to be like teaching?
So this is the tension in my brain. I always thought that teaching was what people showed up for. It's also what I don't like doing. But it's effortless and easy for me to do an interview or me to talk about the journey. And those are the things that everybody is saying that they jive with. Okay.
How much is there to teach? I feel like the fundamentals, how many hours of content can you go on teaching yourself?
That's what my YouTube channel's about. So I do the teaching. Like I do screen shares, teaching you how to do this.
Yeah, and I'd rather blow my brains out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the monologues, I like when you go on your rants.
Exactly.
When sometimes you go on a rant, it's just fun to listen to.
Okay.
I agree, but see, that's not teaching. That's you sharing a message.
What you call a monologue is me teaching something. But a rant I hear as, it's just when I get on my high horse and I go.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care if any of you are listening. Let me tell you how the truth is, everybody.
And it's gone good to bad. Like sometimes, like when you go on your rant, and you've had a couple of things to drink, and you're going like whatever, and you're going to accept it whatever way it comes. But I'll bet you get more play out of that when you're like, let me give you the 9 steps to.
I'd rather blow my brains out than give people the 9
What's your
steps.
whole
Yeah,
energy change?
yeah, correct. Okay, that's interesting. Sean, what are you processing over there? Process out loud.
You always wanted to have a platform to ignite light fires. And you're thinking, I think maybe you're thinking of the platform as number of followers, etc. When the platform is more like a political platform, the platform of your message. And the people will come to that. We've talked about that 4 different ways, but that's using the word platform. There's 2 definitions of a platform. There's like something you stand on, and then there's something you stand on, or for. I think when you stand for something, like anybody else in the room, it's much more powerful.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, y'all. We'll cut it here. Let's break for 10 so my brain can reset, and then we'll keep going after that. I think it's so easy in internet entrepreneur land to compare yourself to other people who are doing similar things and completely forget the unique value that you bring into the community. And we forget that until we all get together. And because we have kind of an egoless culture at capitalism.com, what we're able to cultivate is every person can bring in some sort of addition into the community, and people benefit not just because they're learning how somebody else did it or comparing their results to somebody else, but because they're sharing resources that legitimately benefit each other. And some people would compare their skill sets and look at the results and say who's better. But in the tribe, it's about bringing those people together so that everybody wins. I think that's what capitalism is. It's why capitalism creates change, because you can, for the first time, bring people with unique value together and something new is created. And that's what we're doing.